Hi, students. Welcome to Chapter 11. I hope that everyone is staying safe and sheltering in place. And today we're going to talk about interpersonal relationships. Your textbook defines relationships of intimacy as basically in two groups. One is intimacy based on friendship. The other is intimacy based on passion. That would be you're more more physical type. Of course, you can have both friendship and passion in a relationship. But friendship's defined as a relationship of choice that exists over time between people who have a common history. So what that means is that friends do self-disclose. They tell each other things about themselves that you maybe wouldn't tell a stranger. There also has to be some trust and some compatibility. You have to be able to get along, empathize with each other, help each other through hard times, through lonely times, etc. And then you need to be able to accept the other person's individuality. So even the closest friends or the closest romantic partners aren't necessarily together all the time or don't necessarily share all of the same interests. So sometimes one person does her thing, the other person does his thing. They're still friends, they're still partners, they just, are maintaining their independence. Okay, friends do depend on each other for emotional support. They support each other socially. Sometimes they provide material support. They do favors. If you have to go away, they can feed your cat for you, check your mail for you, etc. In some cases, some friends are able to lend each other money in times of financial stress. So they provide material support as well as the emotional support. And they do help shape your values and beliefs. So they influence what you believe and what you think is important. If you have a friend, for example, who is a vegan, that can influence you to become a vegan. Okay, you want to be familiar with the stages of friendship. These are how they break down. At about the age of 2, that's about the age that children start going to their moms or whoever starts taking them to the playground. They meet another 2-year-old on the playground and they play together for that day. They may never see, their paths may never cross again. But they're momentary playmates. As they get a little bit older, they start to form one-way friendships. So as children move into elementary school, they start to make friends, but it's very often based on what this person can do for me. Does this person have a backyard swimming pool, or is this person good at baseball? And so they do what works for them. And this goes into a period of fair weather friendship. And through adolescence, you form deeper friendships. You're also more likely to form friendships with groups, with boys and girls. So adolescents often develop cross-sex friendships. Sometimes they become, sometimes sex is involved. Sometimes, very often it's not. They're just friends. It is possible to have platonic relationships with members of another sex. Over time, research indicates that friendship increases, sexual attraction decreases, and friendship with somebody of a different gender can help you to understand and deal with that gender. Okay, diverse friendships can fall into friendships between people of different ages or people of different cultures. As you get older, of course, age difference matters less. So when you're 15, there's a lot of difference between you and a 20-year-old. When you're 25, there's not so much difference between you and a 30-year-old. So age matters less as you get older. Okay, and intercultural friendships. Very often they create a common ground, so they learn from each other. Sometimes friends from two different cultures can form their own culture. Sometimes even their own language, their own way of communicating based on each other's language. Um, and if you've had relationships that were intercultural with someone from that same culture before, it helps reduce your uncertainty about how to act. So if it's an Asian family, for example, should I bow or should I not bow? These are the kind of angst that you could have. And if you've been friends, if you've had Asian friends before, maybe not so much. Romantic relationships, of course, are the closest relationships that you make. Your textbook says, it speaks of the triangular theory of love that holds that loving relationships are based on intimacy, but they're also based on commitment and on passion. So you need to be familiar with those three. They can vary in degree, but research shows that the three, intimacy, commitment, and passion, need to be there in order for it to be a successful romantic relationship over the long term. Okay, you want to be familiar with how relationships escalate, how they're initiated, turning points in a relationship. For example, a turning point a couple of years from now when you're ready to graduate from college, your romantic partner may get a job and job offer across the country, even across the world. What is that? Are you going to continue your relationship? Are you going to go together? Or are you just going to de-escalate the relationship? That would be a turning point, deciding what to do. So these are some of the things that you want to be familiar with. Strategies to initiate relationships. Of course, you communicate, you be open, you want to self-disclose, but you want to gather information about the other person and listen actively. Provide social support to that person. Engage in relationship talk. So that's the meta communication again, the communication about communication. Studies show that women are more likely to do that than men, so there are some gender differences, but these are things that you want to be aware of. So again, those are just the highlights of Chapter 11. If you need to read the chapter, if you have questions, please ask.